voice. I am a vessel. The world is a test. Ignore what the flesh do.
Hey, welcome to Building Stronger Men, and I am Dracon, the alpha male, your cool uncle, the man that wants to have serious conversations with you. I invite you to like, subscribe, share, join the community, join the conversations. Let's talk and get to know one another. First off, all praises to the Most High God. Today, I want to tackle fear and anxiety. Those two things have plagued me since the beginning of my life. It's stopped me from doing a lot of things that I've wanted to do, and it's kept me in places where I shouldn't be. It all started, I would say, just from my upbringing. I grew up in a household where it was three women, no men. So I had no one to kind of show me how to be strong. And my mom, I think she kind of put a little bit of that fear in me, afraid of the world, afraid of certain things. But I understand what the use of it was for. She used it to protect us, and it helps make you cautious. But with a little boy who probably was a coward and fearful anyway, it only drove me into extreme fear. When I was younger, I would be laying in my bed at night, and this happened like a couple times a week. I would be laying in my bed at night, and I could swear that I would hear people talking outside about how they're going to break into our house. And I would put the covers over my head, or I would go into my mom's bed. And just a little thing about me, it's really funny. I slept in my mom's bed until I was about 12 or 13. Now I'm a little ashamed of it, but it's true. And I want to be about truthfulness on this channel. I slept in my mom's bed till I was about 12 or 13. So I was well into middle school sleeping next to my mom because of my fear and anxiety. Fear ruled my life. I was afraid to walk down the street. I was afraid of what could happen to me. I was afraid of people breaking in my house. I just lived a life totally shrouded in and ruled by fear. My heart was literally pounding a couple times a week. I was afraid to play contact sports. I was just a young man filled with fear. I was extremely shy. I was afraid to talk to people, get to know new friends. I preferred to be alone. Even now, as a man, I still prefer to be alone. I was afraid to talk to girls, but maybe that's just the norm to be afraid to talk to girls. But I just want you to understand the life of fear that I lived. Sometimes it felt like my heart was going to pound out of my chest because I was afraid of social situations. I was afraid of crowds. I was filled with anxiety and fear. Personally, I believe it stunted my growth, and a lot of things that I would have learned at that puberty phase, maybe having a man in my life, I didn't learn until later, being around men and being forced to do things. And that was one thing that kind of helped to start to release my fear, was to go do new things, was to try things that I was always afraid of, and to see that they were no big deal. But if you've been listening to this channel for any amount of time, you know we don't roll like that. The number one thing that helped me to get over fear was trusting God. That was the number one thing. That was the game changer. Practical application is always cool. There is something supernatural and awesome about casting your burdens on the Lord. I remember I was younger, probably about 13, 14, when I really started to repeat this verse to myself. And it was, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And I kid you not, over about the course of a couple months, maybe a year, as I repeated that verse, I became more bold than I had ever been in my life. And it's one of my favorite verses, and it's one that has never left my mind. So to you, if your child is struggling with fear, if you're struggling with fear, it's all good to go and try something new to get over certain fears, and then you can try something else and you may build up. But my advice to you is to trust in God, is to proclaim his word over the dark spots of your mind and your emotions. Trust me, it works. Jesus, the word of God, is a cure all pill. Now, I can't even, I guess, understand why I was so fearful when I have a God who is big, so big that he can do anything. There's nothing that scares him. And if he lives in you, there should be nothing that scares you. For greater is the one who is in you than he that is in the world. So I beg you, I bid you to trust in God to overcome your fear. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Once I realized that it was not his will for us to be fearful, all my fears started to release. As always, brothers, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, and let all that you do be done in love. You can live a life fearlessly by trusting in God. This is Dracon. Peace.
The word is my weapon, I'm pulling the trigger. Showing me heaven, I paint them a picture. I open the scripture, hoping you whisper. Pray that they listen and maybe consider. Help me deliver the word that you give us. Never religious, we burning the bridges, ignoring the critics, inviting the spirit. I pray that you hear it one day and visit. I am a voice, I am a vessel. The world is a test. Ignore what the flesh do.